One of the hardest things to do sometimes when you're doing your own program or you're following a program from an online source is showing up is obviously one of the big things, but then when you don't have that interaction with the coach on the day in the moment, making sure that when those days that you're feeling just pretty bloody ordinary, you don't quit on those days, because it's a big thing to show up. But then the other next big thing is to, instead of quitting, take a breath, get your breathing back under control, because you always feel angry, frustrated, you're maxing out your oxygen, or you're feeling like that and you're frustrated as hell and you just can't seem to be getting anywhere. And especially when you've done a big day, because those programs are done without the context of what did you do the day before, how did you sleep, has it been really hot, has it been really windy, are you going into a big headwind today? And sometimes we forget the nuances of that, because if you're working with a coach directly, unless they're just a nut and moron, they're not going to throw you at the wall and keep yelling at you as you slide down and then pick you up and throw you at the wall again. They're going to make an adjustment. They're going to let you do a recovery for a moment. They're going to adjust and see how much is physical, how much is it mentally. And then they're sometimes going to come at a different way. They might make you go back and do some stretches. They might make the warm up a little longer. They might let you just do something technical for a while that engages your brain and lets your brain switch into a task, rather than feeling overwhelmed and saturated by the fact that you're feeling so tired and frustrated. And as we're doing this ourselves, we have to do that same sort of thing as well, because we have to look at it from a different perspective. So rather than just go, I must do this moment, is it better to give yourself a little bit longer in recovery? Is it better to just get your breath back, take the anger and the frustration out of that moment, and then take the intensity down a little bit? And that can often lead to a much better session and a completed session, rather than where you've got frustrated, thrown all your toys out of the cot and walked away and you didn't get anything out of it. So one of the biggest things is to remember, when you're feeling frustrated, put in context of what you've been doing, put in context of that you have shown up and that you gave yourself the chance to do this opportunity and do this session. So now the important thing is not to throw that away. All too often we can get down on ourselves and throw it away, and half an hour later, 2 hours later, 4 hours later, you think, why did I do that? So don't throw away that moment. Take a breath. Take all the anxiety, all the tension, all the stress out of that moment. And if that means it's 5-minute recovery, that's fine. But often it's far less than that. Often it's 30 seconds, 90 seconds. Make an adjustment. Think how else you can do. Think of how you can engage the brain, because once the brain is into that survival mode, it's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to make sure you have energy in reserves. That's what it's designed for. And it's only in our modern training and our modern living that we can push past that. So we've got to understand that we've got to reset, and that isn't failing. Reset is not a failure. It's just coming at it from a different angle. And often by the end of the session, you can have done everything you want to do anyway, or at least majority. And that's still a much bigger win than if you'd given into that frustration and that sense of, I can't do this. So the biggest thing to do when you're feeling that you're hitting the wall and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling nothing else is possible, give yourself at least 30 seconds. Get your breathing back under control. Reassess. Take the anger and the frustration out of that moment. What else can I do? Can I lower the intensity? Can I come at this from a different way? If you had a coach or someone there, that'll help you go through that. That'll help you come at it from a different way. So this is where you've got to be able to do that yourself. So don't feel that just because a session is prescribed and written down and you've agreed to it, that that's the be all and end all. It's making adjustments in the moment. Like, no program ever goes exactly to plan. And no program where a coach is involved in a direct line goes exactly the way it was written. Because there'll often be sessions where a person has done something else the day before or even in the warm-up that then needs to be changed. we aren't machines. We all have foibles, but that doesn't mean that nothing is possible. So give yourself a little break. Tell me those times that you've reassessed, you've got through a session when you didn't expect to. And sometimes some of those sessions end up being fantastic and you're really glad you did hang in there. If it's to do with an injury, really make sure that you allow yourself to take that context on board and to adjust and moderate as you need to. But if it's to do with generally where you've just, you've been doing session after session and you've got to a point where you haven't rested properly or you haven't let your body recover properly, make sure that you adjust and maybe take a little bit longer. Like and subscribe. Let me know how you go. Let me know how much frustration you felt in those times where it just felt overwhelming and you're so angry and you almost threw it away. You almost threw that session away and that would have been a total write-off and that would have not gone anywhere. And yet if you took a little bit longer, that session worked out actually okay and it's ticked off and in the bank. Good luck. I hope your sessions don't end in sweaty messes like mine. Take care. See you on the next one.